Mindful Drawing. I'm Rooks Fun, and I'll be your guide here on an exercise into the practice of mindfulness through drawing. It's just like what it sounds. We'll give ourselves some space between the page, the instrument, and ourselves, our creativity, to see what flows out and expresses from a simple starting point. This week, we're going to explore the spiral, that continuous shape looping back around itself, finding one that speaks to us and then following it through into a kind of double looping, merging galaxy of a continuous curve, a chance for us to really slow down and feel the pacing of that curve, to move the hand with attention, and at the same time let go of intention to follow the path that's inscribed, to enter from the outside into its center and return back from the center to the outside, oscillating between the two as a way to explore some techniques of marking, creating pattern, and giving ourselves a smooth, even breath, a calmness, and eventually an openness to create. You just need a pen or pencil, something you like to draw with. Any pad of paper, sketchbook, or spare sheet will do. Gather your supplies, establish your space, and let's draw together. I have some scrap paper here. In the warm-up, we introduce a little bit of the technique or general concept, give us some time to find our space, get settled, and warm up our hands a little bit for the longer exercise. It's going to look at walking our way through a bit of a spiral today, so maybe we'll use the warm-up just to try out some different spirals, clockwise, counterclockwise, thick or thin, round or square, and just anywhere around on a page in the sketchbook or a piece of scrap paper, doing what first comes to mind as a little bit of a spiral, something typical there, rotating around. Perhaps it's from the outside in, you go more with the square, irregular. This is also a good time to play with both hands a little bit and maybe try one with your offhand just to warm up the brain a little, get that strange feeling of trying to control with a less trained condition. But these can kind of be all over the place. Maybe our spiral does something more messy and irregular, not as consistent, just finding different ways that our current conception might think of it, and then with the next few rounds and breaths, just starting to find the one that feels comfortable to you, that you want to work with. We're going to make this larger and maybe pair it up when we move to our drawing exercise. I think I'll do a little work going from inside out and back around to outside in, just as a starting shape for us to explore and find some pacing and rhythm in our drawing. So on a fresh page or the back of that one, somewhere, let your hands kind of feel out the paper a little bit just to get familiar with the new sheet. You take a couple of breaths to roll the shoulders back and let them ease into their sockets. Make sure your back and your seat and your hips are in a comfortable position. Take a good breath in to fill out the space of the lungs and the abdomen. And just let it drift out naturally. And the next big breath in, setting that core in place, and a little bit of a sigh or deeper breath out. And then anywhere that feels comfortable on the page, going to begin moving from in to out, around a spiral, drawing pretty slow, letting it get pretty large. And as our trajectory begins, as the pen moves, using this time to enter into that continuous motion with our breath, that continuous rhythm of our body, really slowing down the movement of the hand as you breathe in, and paying attention to where the hand is and the position of the pen with the paper as you breathe out. Each cycle, drawing our attention into the slow movement and out to the interaction of our body through this instrument to the medium of the page. Finding a consistent pacing that maybe is just on the edge of uncomfortably slow. It's okay if things wobble a bit. As you get wider in the spiral, it might get more difficult to control. Just let the breath draw your attention, the spiral or the drawing, just into the background as something for us to focus our awareness on. And as it gets larger, I'm going to begin to just let mine spiral off and transition to a new, now inward facing iteration. Still moving slow with that in breath, this attention on our speed, and the out breath, the chance to observe what's happening with that motion in our fingertips. Still maintaining a consistent pacing. Breathing in our action and letting our awareness extend out. With our regular breathing cycle, we need to breathe overly deep, just at a pace that you can align with your attention. Depending on where you're at, if you've reached the limit of the space you can spiral around, you still have a ways to go. When you come towards that conclusion of the second spiral, you can take a moment to rest the hands in the eyes, to let that space of attention and awareness that you've been building up just by following that path open for a minute. Let the eyes take in the figures on the page now, and choose a new space of interaction. For me, I think I'm going to walk back along the spirals and walk with a series of dots or points, continuing to align those with some of the rhythms of my breath. There's one dot on the in-breath, followed a little later by another dot on the out-breath. Finding the size of the mark on the page in alignment with a speed that's comfortable for breathing. This tracing of a route or walking through the space we've made with that spiraling action is just an exploration, a mapping out at first of how we moved before, and a journey along the path formed by just tracking that pen or pencil around itself. This regular rhythm to the in-breaths and the out-breaths, bringing in a lot of oxygen to support our body, to fill the space of our lungs, torso, to exhale the carbon dioxide and other buildup of gases, cleansing and refreshing the muscles of the fingertips, the nerves, fresh supply of oxygen. You may get a little lightness if it's too consistent of a deep breath, too much oxygen coming in. Begin to space it out and focus each dot only on one portion of the breath, just the out or just the in, whichever feels comfortable. And let the body respond to that increased airflow, that increased oxygenation. Taking one step each time along the path. One breath aligned with the new position, giving ourselves some space to sit with the slowness of the action. The destination and the journey are mapped out on the paper already by the spiral. Now we just take the step in each iteration of the sequence to open up some space for ourselves to focus, to practice our awareness of where we are physically or mentally as we form that small dot or figure on the page. Gradually working its way down to the infinite point or out beyond the edges. We may only make it part of the way around one arm of one spiral, depending on the pacing we're finding is comfortable. And giving yourself that space to be okay with it. Or if it brings a large amount of tension, distracting you from the felt tip of the pen or the graphite gliding of the pencil, distracting from the motion of the hand, the cyclic repetition to fill in the dot of space. You can always increase the frequency a little bit until you find a comfortable pacing that still allows your attention to be on each moment, letting go of the concern of reaching to a destination, practicing that here in a safe and open space, a drawing that may just sit on a page in a sketchbook or get recycled in the paper bin once you're done. So we can practice that presence in each moment here. Hopefully we can bring that out from the exercise into other things we do in our day. And take a couple of rounds to notice which direction you're tending towards for forming the dot. I'm counterclockwise, starting from the outside and working my way in to fill. Yours may be different, it may be inconsistent. Just witness and observe how you're naturally forming that position on the page. And once you're comfortable with it, have a sense of it, try changing it. Perhaps just reverse the direction. Still work from in to out or out to in, depending on what you'd found. Switching up for me from counterclockwise to clockwise, just to bring a different activation to the mind, to engage it in that reciprocal act of intention and pattern, giving just a little guidance and letting the body follow through with technique, but not falling so deep into the pattern that we lose our awareness. This is quite a lot of marks and dots that we've been making, so you may notice some tension building up in the fingers or the hands, and changing the direction of drawing may alleviate some of that, or at any point could change the hand that guides the pen or pencil, switching from left to right or right to left. Noticing when that tension builds to a place that may pull you out of your experience in the drawing. Give the hand that's been working hard a little rest and find a way to work into that release. And as we're drawing, you can begin to play. The technique is embedded, practiced. We've brought our attention and awareness to how we draw, when we move, where we are. That opens up some space for us to get a little creative with it, to play, perhaps opening up the dots, changing their shape, changing their spacing, playing with speed, acceleration, slowness. Perhaps the dots become another way of mapping through that space of the spiral, or as the repetition of motion has formed figure, the singular act of motion can come into play. Here I'm exploring just small circles with one pass, not filling in the dot, not looping around. Just one moment, one breath to make the form, beginning, rounding, returning, and again. Opening up some space for myself to experiment with size, with the relationship between the thing I'm drawing and the space provided for it. Does it respect the inscribed boundaries of that initial spiraling figure? Or does it cross over challenge them, draw from your motion or gestural. This is our place to experiment with that, to play. And as we find new things, always the chance to bring our awareness to them, to observe what we've discovered by aligning it with our breath. An in-breath for one figure, an out-breath for the next. An in-breath to draw, an out to draw. Our pace slowing or quickening to align with our natural rhythms, coming into some degree of sync. And this synchronization opening up some space where there may have been noise, overlapping concerns. So we have a little bit more room to detach from intention and just observe how we are drawing, how our body and position influence that, how the motion on the page changes the position of our body. Everything's syncing up, in with a shape, out with a shape, in with a breath, out with a breath. Each step traveling just a little further along the path. And if you've reached some conclusion of the spiral, one place or another, you can turn around and continue back. Perhaps now a chance to work our way through the obstacles and configurations we have mapped here. The dots and shapes filling up some space in the spiral. I think I'll begin our time of open drawing, a little quiet, just by continuing from the end and weaving my way back out again through the two spirals, continuous, just to find some play in there. But anything that you may start to see or discover, take 5 minutes or so to just draw and inhabit the space that you've created by tracking that pen or pencil on the page. And as we draw towards the conclusion of our exercise, continue to let that pen or pencil move if you're tracking something interesting or finding a place there. But as you do, begin to bring some awareness and attention to your experience in that motion. I found the weaving in and out of the spiral mentally very challenging to stay with my breath, to try to maintain the rhythm and consistency, to not get lost. I also found a lot of fun and play in letting the motion of the drawing enter into the space of my body's motion, a little swaying side to side, a little flexing of the hips and the shoulders. What other things come to your attention in your experience? Or what other possibilities started to emerge as the lines travel in and out, forward and back, no beginning and no end, lost in the space of time that created the drawing there. You, a passenger and a guide. In the last couple minutes, let the pen find its way to a rest. Maybe you have a stopping point, or you just take a deep breath. Place the cap back on or set the pencil down. And give yourself a little space of openness and gratitude to take from this exercise and extend some of that creativity, play, and mindfulness into whatever else you do for the day. Taken very context, I always enjoy this quote from T.S. Eliot in The Little Kidding. Speaking of return, the beginning and the end coming around. And we shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Where you are now, different from where you began, a new place to begin again. Track along that infinite path, the loop of the spiral. Find patience in the flow. Find acceptance in the path set before you, and explore the territory that is. I thank you for joining along, and if you watch this here on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up below if you liked the exercise, and let me know in the comments what you found, what you discovered in your own journey. You can find new episodes of Mindful Drawing here every Wednesday, or you can catch us live on Twitch at 9 a.m. on Tuesday mornings at Rooks is Fun. This series is a drop-in series that's supported by Mindful Pratt, part of the Resilience, Wellness, and Wellbeing Council, where we look to provide ways of engaging with the self and self-care for students and faculty and anyone who would like to join. I hope this leaves you in a place of calm and rest, and maybe ignited just a little bit of creativity that you can take with you into the rest of your day. This is Rooks is Fun, signing off. Draw well.